Well, Justin, you're a father as well. You had your daughter at an early age. How did that change your life?
Man, it still changes my life every day. Truly.
She's how old now?
She'll be 13 this
Okay.
month. Yeah.
Crazy.
She is
About to become a woman?
She is a grown ass woman.
Okay.
I mean, there is no stopping that. That's for fucking
Is
sure.
she still doing jujitsu?
Nope. She does some kickboxing. She's a monster at volleyball.
Okay.
She is. Like when she was 10, she was playing 15U.
Oh, wow.
And that wasn't like
It's
us. That was them
insane.
asking. Like,
Cool.
hey.
And she's good.
She's good.
It's insane what volleyball's become here in St. Louis. It is a massive sport.
I had no idea. And I'll tell you this. One of the most disheartening things is walking through a select girls volleyball tournament of all middle school girls, and you're the shortest person in the building. Every dad, every grandma, every girl is just like, hi.
Yeah.
Are you ever up at the Bud Dome in Green Park?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Well, we had a couple tournaments there last year, but I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. There's another place. I think it's in Fenton. There's one in Fenton that's like, it's got a full like CrossFit facility in there. I think it's called Ace, maybe.
Yeah, Ace. That's
I've heard of that.
That's strictly like Ace volleyball.
So the guy who runs that, Scott something, he was an Olympic volleyball player and was a coach on the Olympic team, and now runs like one of the best volleyball training facilities in the Midwest.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, it's massive. It's massive in that place. I think they have 14 courts. Yeah.
Damn.
And if I'm not mistaken, they have two sides of the building, like where there's game courts and practice courts.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bud Dome has what, like 7 or 8 over there on
Yep.
that backside. Yeah,
Yep.
the baseball team I coach practice there Saturdays.
Yep. Oh, yep. On the right side, like
Yep.
split pass. Oh, there's 2 entrances too.
Yeah,
right?
so you've got the back entrance where you've got the restaurant and all that.
You walk up the ramp and everything.
Yeah,
Yep.
so there's there's one indoor baseball field there, and then you come through, you've got the old side baseball and then the other baseball field, and you've got that back almost like an L-shaped.
Yep.
With the volleyball, basketball stuff. I think they got like 7 or 8 courts back there, something like that.
I think it's 8, man. It's a madhouse, bro.
It's insane. You can't find parking there. There's nothing. Like,
No.
oh yeah,
No.
it is insane how competitive and how big. I didn't realize it until I started coaching again.
I had no idea. Like we played like rec, for the city of Wentzville, and a girl that I grew up with. So my daughter went to a camp at North Point, Wentzville, and it was 5th through 8th grade, and she won MVP of the camp.
Cool.
And that I posted it online, and a girl that I grew up with reached out to me. She's like, hey, I see, she got this at this camp. That was my coach in college. If your daughter was able to win this award for him, I need her on my team.
Damn.
I'm like, yeah, but she's 12. She's like, that's fine. We're 13U, 14U. So if she thinks she can play, she can play. Like, as long as she can compete and she can handle her emotions, she's like, I want her on my team. So we played club last year, man. That was.
What are those parents like?
It's intense, bro.
Yeah.
It's intense. And, I've coached kids, for a long time, but seeing a team of just young middle school girls, the emotional roller coaster that happens during a game is unlike anything I've ever seen in my life,
Yeah.
Because everything's such a big feeling and moment when you're that young anyways. And
Every point's the biggest point ever.
And it's no secret that middle school girls are the most emotional creatures on the planet.
Yeah.
For
sure.
And like
Puberty, hormone city.
right. And them like trying not to fight with each other, but still being mad, and then like not taking account of, it's just so funny to watch. That to me was just as fun to watch as the games.
Do you think the jiu-jitsu and kickboxing has helped your daughter with like regulating those emotions and those feelings, or is she still part of that?
She still deals with it because
Obviously going
yeah,
changes.
and She did jujitsu and kickboxing for like 3 years pretty consistently, and then got off it for a while and was doing a bunch of other stuff. And, you know, she never really took it that seriously. It was just something that she did. So like,
It was something you did. So
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And like, I mean, she's grown up in the gym. She's 13 now. She's been in the gym since she was 5, you know, but she understands, she's got a good understanding of that. Hey, when it's time to clock in, it's time to clock in. Cause like she has this switch, you know, a lot of kids don't have that,
Right.
you know, especially that early, like kind of have to find it, you know, but she's a dog.
That's awesome.
She's a dog, man.
good.
But
Is that something that she's wanting to take further? And I mean, I know it's a young age,
Yeah.
but it's,
she's, and I don't know if it's a her thing or maybe like this generation of kids, but like, you know, the second things start to get like hard or too serious, that's when she sees a little bit of pushback. Like if I tell her, hey, like you got to play on you're going to play on this team, but you still have to study film. You have to remember your plays and you have to do this. Like it becomes a little overwhelming for her. You know, because
well, yeah, I mean,
she's got so much
13
freedom.
playing against 15-year-olds. It might be, it's a little different. But
Sure. But she's got so much freedom, you know, in her normal life that like these constraints you put on her to do these things that she enjoys, like, I don't know. But I do think it's more of like a kids in this generation thing than just her specifically. Cause I see it all the time, you know, with kids that I coach, but it's a weird water to navigate because I've been a coach for so long and I'm trying to coach her on how to be a better athlete and, you know, how to do the right things to achieve your goals in whatever sport, right? But trying to coach her specifically for volleyball, like I got to back off.
I was
on
going
that,
to say,
you
it's
know,
not your,
it's not my forte,
your
but I
forte.
know that, hey, if you want to get better and you're playing the most important position on the team, you have to understand what everyone's responsibilities are.
Right.
So like, you know, me as a coach, like instinctively, like when we're on the way home from practice, I'm like, okay, what'd you learn today? I don't know. Dad, I don't want to talk about it. Well, what are we doing here?
What are we doing here? We gotta get better. Yeah.
You know, we're trying to get better. We're trying to get better.
For sure.
You know, so she really, really loves it. I don't think she likes the pressure of it though. You know, but pressure's a privilege. You got to understand that. Some people it takes them longer to understand that.
is it hard to turn off the coach mode and
It's
go to dad day?
almost impossible.
Yeah.
Almost fucking impossible. Like even with my wife, like if we go to work out together, like I just have to spend the whole time like I'm her husband right now. I don't need to coach her on her form on everything and do this. I'm like, you need to go, you know.
Yeah,
it's
for
like,
sure.
but it's just been so much of my life,
Right.
like, you know, trying to
Yeah, you just
take
want to
the hat
help,
off.
but you're like, it's like
Yeah.
it's not what they want right now.
Right.
You know?
That's why with my boys with baseball, I don't know if I will be. I don't know. Separate that. I don't know if I could coach them.
Yeah.
It's it'd be different if it was something that we were doing together. You know,
If she was
like,
doing jiu-jitsu or you were doing volleyball.
right. Yeah. If I was like a, you know, volleyball player or I
Yeah.
played in high school and college or, you know, whatever, like then I have a, you know, little more of a leg to stand
I was
on.
going to say we don't have the build for that sport, buddy.
No.
No.
So, and that's what she plays. She plays libero, but like, and this is how psycho I got. It's like the average height for a D1 female libero is like 5'6.5", 5'7".
Yeah.
I don't think she's getting to that. Shit, I'm not that. So, you know? So, but I just, I want her to understand that like, it's okay to have responsibilities for the things that you enjoy, because when you get older, you're going to have responsibilities for things that you fucking hate. And you still got to do them.
Yeah.
Preach.
You know?
Right.
And I think that's the probably the hardest thing is like, look, man, would you rather learn responsibility by doing something you love or all these things you hate? Well, because I can teach you responsibility by making sure, hey, you vacuum your room, you do your chores, you do all your laundry and the dishes are done and all this other shit. But like, it's not fun. It's not fun. It's going to just make you resent these things that no matter what you have to do regardless, you know, if I have to force you to do these things. But I just think as part of like navigating the waters as a parent coach, like there's not enough books in the world that'll help you prepare for a 7th grade girl, you know, let alone one where, you know, you guys are so much alike anyways, like in tendencies and who you are. And I'm just trying to be the coach that I needed when I was that age, you know, like, hey, make sure you're watching your film. Hey, make sure you're studying your rotations. Like, hey, spend one day this week and watch one full volleyball game from start to finish at the college level. Like, those are the things that I was trying to get her to do, and it's like, I don't know, maybe that is too much for a 7th grader. But like I said, pressure is a privilege, right? Like, I'd tell her all the time, I'd never ask you to do anything that I don't believe you're capable of. I'm not asking you to run 10 miles every day right now, cold turkey, Like, could you do that eventually? Maybe you could, but maybe that's not who you are. But I know that you can study the rotations that you were given, watch one college volleyball game a week, and make sure you know your teammates' responsibilities. It's
doable.
It's pretty doable,
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to be team captain and start at libero.
Yeah.
It's mandatory, actually.
Yeah,
if you want to keep your spot. I told her, I said, if you just want to be on the team, that's fine. But we're not going to play club. Because being a part of the team is so important for any kid. But if you're not going to handle the responsibility it takes to be on this type of team, well, we'll put you on a different one. And so she's starting to understand that now, because she started off super hot in the season and tried to ride on talent, and I bit her in the ass at the end of the season. She ended up getting benched halfway through because it wasn't studying rotations and it was showing up in games. And so, many times you tell anyone, especially a kid, something, they don't know it until they know it, or they feel it, So I'm sure you see that all the time with your guys, right?
Yeah. I mean, as a coach, obviously they're, and this is something that I've always, I look back at it, like the way, like, how am I going to handle it when my kids are getting into sports, which Connor, I mean, they're already getting into sports, but Connor starts playing baseball this summer. And, I always told my ex-wife, I'm like, I really don't want to coach him. Well, it's a kids from school. They started this team, and Melissa just out of nowhere, like, oh yeah, Pat played professional baseball. He would love to help. And I'm like, check with me first on that one. No, I would not love to help. I mean, could I help? Absolutely. But at the same time, like, the best thing that happened for me was that my parents didn't know jack shit about baseball.
Right.
And they were just there to support me. They got me with the coaches that I needed to get better. And they put all the trust in them and let them do it. And they asked me, they wanted to know what my goals were. So I told them my goals, and all they would do is just ask me, do you still want it? And I would have to answer that myself. And it was yes or no. Like, no, then, okay, well then we're done paying for lessons. We're done doing all this shit and putting you on these teams. If it was yes, then I had to answer myself, like, why the fuck am I being lazy right now?
Right.
So that was kind of how my parents handled all of that. And that's the approach that I think I'm going to take with the boys, but not, in terms of, because putting that responsibility on myself. When somebody tries to tell me to do something, what am I going to do? Probably the opposite, So it was put onto me early on, from an early age, I guess, middle school, going into high school. If that's what I wanted to do, and I knew that's what I wanted to do at that point. I knew that I wanted to take this further, because I was developing heads and tails above my peers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew that, like, there was a chance at it, and my coaches encouraged it, and my parents were just kind of sat back. Where on the opposite side of it was hockey, which I was really, really good at hockey. My dad coached all of the things. He knew all the things about hockey. And instead of, like, just supporting me through it, he'd be coaching me after games, and I just got burnt out on it.
It's got to be miserable.
And yeah, I know, it's just like, I don't want to, like, your daughter was like, I don't want to talk about this, Dad.
Yeah.
I was the same way. I'm like, yeah, I know I had a shitty game, Dad. I don't need you to sit here and tell me I had a shitty game.
Right.
And so for me, I got burnt out on hockey really, really quickly. Not to mention I had 6 concussions, but that's a whole
fun.
No, well, that's a whole
six on record.
6 on record.
Six,
Right,
six
exactly.
on record.
6 on record. But I mean, that was the whole thing, and that's kind of why, like, everybody asked, like, oh, are you gonna get your kids into baseball? I mean, yeah, sure. Would I love for them to play baseball? Absolutely. But am I gonna push it? No. Am I gonna coach them? I'm sure at one point, maybe. If I'm sitting there watching, I'm seeing these dads running around teaching them some stupid ass shit, like, I'll come probably go out there.
So it sounds like you're gonna start coaching soon.
We'll see. But that's the thing. They like, Connor loves it. My oldest loves it. My youngest, not so much. He's a little bit, he's more of my artsy, craftsy,
sure,
like hands-on building type stuff. So like I said, I want to get him into things that he enjoys. I don't want to put him into sports just because Connor's in sports, and kind of develop that, pressure on my youngest one. Pressure is a privilege, but if he's not going to enjoy what he's doing, then I don't want him to do it.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, that was my biggest takeaway and things from the way my parents handled it. Now, parents didn't do a lot of things right, but that was one of the things that they did do right.
Sure.
And I appreciate everything about the way they handled that, because I probably wouldn't have made it as far as I did with baseball had they have done it a different way. Because that was like the one thing that I was passionate about that they didn't know shit about. And they were just like, cool, we're just going to be here and cheer you on as a fan. Like, no matter how bad I did, like I'm like, I'd go 0 for 4 at the plate and strike out all 4 times. But my mom would be like, oh, well, you hit that one down the line. I'm like, yeah, Mom, that was a foul ball. She's like, but it was really
But
good.
you touched it.
It was really good.
Yeah, I
it
heard
was
it come off your bat.
Yeah, it sounded good off the bat.
Right, it was really good. But like, or I'd go out and get shelled on the mound. And she'd be like, yeah, but you were throwing really hard. And you and all. I'm like, yeah, Mom, but I also gave up 7 runs, 5 of which were home runs. I'm like, but yeah, so
it's got to be coming in hard to have exit velo like
right,
that.
Exactly, but like, exactly. That's the kind of shit that they would say. So no, I mean, but that was like the biggest thing for me, and why I think I was able to succeed and move past. And that's, parents ask me all the time, like, and that's what I tell them, like just from my own perspective is, let me do the coaching. Let me handle that. You be the parent and you talk to them and just support them.
Right.
And find out what their goals are and encourage their goals. Don't try and force the goals, because then they're just going to do the opposite of what it is. For example, like your daughter, you're going to tell her to go watch video. You think she's going to go watch video?
No, she's watching TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. Tell her to find some TikTok videos on volleyball.
So there's a guy that I follow. His wrestling channel is Pursuit Wrestling. He's Bracken Myers. He wrestled at Ohio State. And he's like, why would I fight what is like so over consuming everyone? He's like, so I give my guys TikToks to watch.
Yeah. That's right.
This is part of practice.
Yeah. I saw my players' videos from TikTok. There's so much, there's so many good things out there on TikTok. Obviously, so many bad things and distractions, but
that's anything on the internet.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So I mean, there's videos that I send my guys and quotes and shit like that from professional athletes and stuff that we have a group chat with all my players, and I'll just forward it off to them, and I hope they watch it. And hopefully that starts feeding into their feed, and they start seeing more and more and more of that stuff.
Right.
But
and Bracken told me that's really the reason he started. It's like, okay, well, I can infiltrate their minds while I'm not even there about wrestling.
Exactly.
Because he makes it mandatory
that they watch TikTok.
That you have to watch these TikToks, because it's going to be stuff that we're doing either in practice this week or this month, or something that happened in an event over the weekend.
That's smart.
I like that.
That is
like, he's like, yeah, I mean, if you're going to give a kid homework, you got to give them some at least incentive to do it. And it's like, okay, there's a reason for doing this. Not just because it's, we're taking a test on Monday. It's like, no, like Jordan Burroughs did this over the weekend. We're going to do this in class today. Please make sure you watch this. And if you don't, you're going to be behind. And then you're going to give, someone wants to get their ass whooped in practice on Monday.
Right. Yeah,
exactly. If everyone's doing, head fakes to a sweep single and you don't know what's going on, it's going to be a bad day for your practice.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Because like you can structure your week without even having to really like put up it on the whiteboard. This is what we're doing today. Like
just do it all through their phone.
Well, so much of sales, coaching, business is about getting onto whoever you're dealing with, their level, right? Like, how do you fucking infiltrate the mind of a child? How do you get on the same level as a kid, and still get the message across? So you can't just like lean down and, look at them. It's like, okay, well, what are kids doing these days? How do I infiltrate that and, try to make it at least more positive for them, beneficial to everyone involved? To me, it just seems so simple. It's such like an easy idea. It's like, why the fuck didn't I think of that?
Right. Makes complete sense.
All the best ideas are usually the most simple, like A to B with, everyone's like, well, if I go to Z first and
they
then
try to
come
complicate
back.
it.
Just start at the end and work my way back.
Yeah. Let's reverse engineer everything.